wonder? What up, wonder?
What's good, y'all? It's MJ. Welcome into the first ever Heir-Apparent podcast. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. I'd like to start this off by having a moment of silence for the still sick and suffering, followed by the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You know, that prayer itself is very strong. I've said it at a lot of AA meetings. I've said it in rehab. I've said it so many times just out of habit that I never really took a second to think about what it really means. About having the serenity, the peace to just accept things as they are, the courage to change things that you can, and the wisdom to be able to tell the difference between the two. It's a lot easier said than done, I personally think. I mean, that's something that I've always had a hard time with, is acceptance. I mean, shit, that's the first step. Admitting that my life has become unmanageable. Yeah, that one was tough because I have so much pride that I didn't want to admit that I had a problem. But let's backtrack a little bit. Yeah, my name's MJ. I'm 3 months sober. Feels weird to say that because that wasn't really guaranteed about 6 months ago. You see, I was sober for 8 months in 2022. Well, from August of 2022 to late March of 2023. And then I relapsed. And I didn't get sober again until this past October. October 2nd is my official sober date. I'd actually stopped drinking a couple days prior to that, but that's the day that I went into detox, and I don't really remember the days prior. So I claim October 2nd, that's my official sober date. I went to Carrier Clinic in Princeton. I was there for 10 days. Prior to that, the year before, I was at a detox for 7 days in Manhattan called Ascend It. And then I went to Brookdale Premier Addiction Recovery in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. I'm very new to this whole recovery thing still. And, it's very interesting, I would say, being 25 years old and going to AA meetings. Being 25 years old and being in an outpatient program for alcohol abuse. It's not the typical 25-year-old, life. But you know what? I'm an alcoholic. And these are things I have to do. If I had cancer, I'd have to get chemotherapy, I'm assuming. And I wouldn't be bitching about that because I'd be fighting for my life. Sure, I wouldn't like it. Just like I don't like going to meetings sometimes. I don't like going to my program sometimes. I don't like doing all this therapy to try to figure out what's going on up in here. But I need to do it. Because left to my own devices, my life becomes unmanageable. I'm an alcoholic. I've said that maybe 3 or 4 times already, and I'm going to keep saying it because I need to remind myself of that. It's a fact. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. You see, for a long time, I played the role of the victim in this whole thing. And yes, while I have a disease that preys on my impulsivity, my lack of self-control, and my depression and anxiety, I do have a disease. The impact that it has had on everyone around me is just, it fails in comparison to the impact it's had on me. And here's the thing. I can't be the son, brother, friend, employee, person that I want to be if I don't go to meetings, if I don't do step work, if I don't go to my outpatient program. And it takes up a lot of my time. Recovery is exhausting. It really is. And anyone who is early on in sobriety will tell you the same thing. Sometimes it feels like your entire life is just recovery. And in some sense it is. But here's the thing. It has to be. Because if I don't put my sobriety first, everything else falls apart. If I put work, relationships, family, anything above my sobriety, well, I'm just going to lose all of it anyway. I'm just going to lose all of it anyway. And you're probably thinking, well, what do you mean? So here's what I mean. If I don't go to meetings because I'm too tired from work and I want to make sure that I'm not tired at work the next day, so I skip going to meetings, I skip going to my outpatient program, well, I get closer to that next drink. A couple weeks go by doing that. I'm getting closer and closer and closer to that next drink. I take that next drink, and once I put that first one in my body, it's off to the races. I will not stop. You know, it starts as a couple of drinks here, a couple of drinks there. Then I'm drinking every day. Then I'm drinking in the morning. Then I'm drinking from 9 a.m. until I pass out at night. Going to work drunk. Driving drunk. I'm not going to keep a job like that. I'm not even going to stay out of jail like that. Shit, I might not even survive like that. But that's what I was doing. Every day. How insane is that? How absolutely insane is that? And that's where the second step comes in. About coming to believe that a higher power could restore us to sanity. And here's the thing, I'm not a religious person. I wasn't raised religious. Roman Catholic is technically my background. We didn't practice when I was growing up. Outside of weddings and funeral services, the last time I was in a church for any other reason was probably my baptism. So, but you have to be pretty ignorant to not believe that there's some kind of power greater than you in this world. You have to be pretty arrogant to believe that there's not a power greater than you in this world. Now, I'm still on my journey spiritually. I should say we're all still on our journey spiritually. I'm just starting my journey spiritually as a result of getting sober. I didn't really care about spirituality. I didn't understand the importance of spirituality until I tried getting sober. Man, it feels so good to wake up in the morning and not have the pressure of the entire world on my shoulders. Just knowing that whatever's going to be will be. I don't have to force anything. You know, all I have to do is sit back and listen. Do the right thing. Right? Listen to my conscience. Keep doing that next right thing. And everything will work out the way it's supposed to, man. Everybody has a path. Now, 2 years ago, would I see me being sober at 25 being part of my path? Hell no. But it is. And you know what? I spent enough time trying to fight it. I'm done fighting that. I surrendered. That's what it comes down to, is I surrendered. I tapped out. I said I can't do this anymore. This is too much. This is not a way to live life. I'm beat up. I'm tired. I'm broken. My girlfriend left me. My mom hates me. My sister hates me. I haven't had a job in months. I have no money. All I do is get drunk. And I'm not even getting drunk anymore. I'm drinking so I don't get sick because I can't stand the thought of going through withdrawal. Because if I don't have alcohol for 2 hours, I start shaking. I get anxious. I fixate on it. I need that next one. I get restless. My leg starts going. Start twitching. That's not a way to live life, man. And here's the thing. I am in no way saying that if you do not have a substance abuse problem that you should not drink. And how dare you drink. Or how dare you smoke weed. Or how dare you use cocaine. Listen. If your brain's not wired like mine, and you can take it or leave it with that shit, live it on, man. Do you. But I'm gonna have to do me. And I know what I have to do. I can't put a substance in my body without abusing it. And becoming addicted. So let's get into some background about me. 25 years old. I live in New Jersey. Born and raised. Raised by a single mother. I'm the oldest of two. I have a younger sister. And she is actually graduating from the College of New Jersey this upcoming spring with her degree in psychology. She's trying to get into master's programs. And she's going to be an addiction counselor, which I think is awesome. I had a pretty normal childhood, man. I mean, I think it was normal. Everybody's got their shit, So for me to be like, oh, my dad wasn't around. I mean, so what? We were poor. So what? I mean, that stuff's not why I drank. I drank because I didn't like me. I didn't like feeling feelings that I didn't like to feel, like sadness, anxiety, depression, loneliness. That's why I drank. It's not because of childhood trauma, which I've had, but who hasn't? I'm not special. And I'm not going to sit here and play a victim card like, oh, feel bad for me. You would drink too if you experienced what I experienced. Fuck you. And if that's how you feel, if that's what you tell people, if you're like me and but you're in denial about your substance use disorder, fuck you. Okay, everybody's got their shit. You're not special. I hate to tell you. And I'm just being blunt. I'm not special. You're not special. No one's special. Okay, one thing they tell us not to do is compare. One thing they tell us not to do in recovery is compare. Be like, oh, well, I'm not that bad. Or, oh, I'm worse than that guy. Why is he even here? Don't do that. Everybody's got their own bottom. Some are worse than others. I'll tell you what, my bottom wasn't even the worst thing I did when I was drinking or the worst consequences I had from drinking. You'd think crashing my car drunk into a tunnel and spinning out would be enough reason to get me to stop drinking. No. You'd think waking up in the hospital with a .32 BAC and the doctor's basically telling me that I had the liver of a 55-year-old man would be enough to get me to stop drinking. No. You'd think that getting arrested would make me stop drinking. That being sick every morning would make me stop drinking. No. You know, my bottom for me was hurting the girl that I loved more than anything else in this world to the point where she had to walk away from me. Because being associated with me was destroying her. That was my bottom. Realizing that I could cause that kind of emotional damage to someone I love was my bottom. So yeah, I mean, I had a pretty normal childhood. You know, I played a lot of sports growing up: baseball, basketball, football. I'm a huge Philadelphia sports fan. You'll probably hear me bitch about the Eagles and the Phillies and the Sixers, and maybe sometimes Flyers. But you know, I'm very passionate about my teams. That's just how I was, always, since I was a little kid. I mean, that's something, you know, me and my father don't have a lot in common, but that's one thing that we did bond over when I was a kid, was Philadelphia sports. And like I said, my dad wasn't really in the picture, so my parents got divorced when I was very young. Pretty sure the divorce was finalized in 2005, I want to say. But it was a very long, dragged out, ugly divorce. My dad fell down our basement steps. He was either drunk or high, and had a severe traumatic brain injury in 2003. My sister, I think, had just turned 1. And he's never been the same since. That's not why my mom divorced him. My mom divorced him because he was constantly putting all of us in danger with his drug use and drinking prior to the brain injury and after the brain injury. I mean, you know, drug dealers knocking on our door in the middle of the night, him going on 3-week benders in Atlantic City and only coming home when he ran out of money. I mean, my mom and my uncle going to look for him in Camden or Trenton, where he was probably trying to score Crack's his thing more so than drinking. Now there is this thing called cross addiction, and when he wasn't smoking crack, he was abusing alcohol for sure. But his drug of choice is crack. Mine's alcohol. Doesn't make me better or worse than him. And I'm at a point where I forgive my father for, you know, the shit that he put me and the rest of my family through. Because how the hell am I supposed to expect forgiveness from other people if I can't forgive him? You know, in the Lord's Prayer, again, I'm not religious, but I can appreciate the message behind certain things. And the Lord's Prayer, you know, it says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Well, how should we expect forgiveness if we can't give forgiveness? So yeah, I've forgiven my father for a lot of things. Let me tell you. Here's the difference between him and I though. Is he likes to play that woe is me, poor me. Look at my life, look how sad it is. He likes to be the victim. And I don't see that changing, unfortunately. I don't like to be the victim. I like to be kicked in the ass and told when I'm fucking up. Straight up. I want to be told, get your shit together. Look at yourself. Because that's what I need. I need someone that's going to kick me in the ass. That's always, like, when I played sports growing up. That was the coaching that I responded best to, was being kicked in the ass. I didn't like the, oh, it's okay. Everybody strikes out. No, what the hell are you looking at? You got to be better. You know? Or if I'm pitching, what the hell is that pitch? You got to make a pitch in that situation. You got to make a pitch. Just because you fail isn't an excuse. You got to find a way. And that's what I like to do. I like to find a way. I'm going to find a way to stay sober. And I can't promise that I'm going to find a way to stay sober for the rest of my life, but I can promise that I'm going to find a way to stay sober today. And honestly, this might be a big part of how I stay sober. Just talking recovery, talking about my journey. I don't give a shit if anybody listens or not, to be honest. I really don't. I mean, I'm doing this for myself. But also, if there's a way that this resonates with people and someone can take something out of this, one person can take something out of this, then great. That's not my intention, though. I'm selfish. My intention is to do what I have to do for myself to stay sober. And I'll tell you what, I don't feel like drinking right now. So it must be working. Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm doing an episode a week where, you know, I just talk recovery, talk about where I'm at in recovery, talk about different points I've been in recovery, talk about what I want to see for myself in the future, where I'm at right now, just in all points of life. I'll tell you what, right now I'm working at FedEx. I'm 3 classes shy of a college degree and I'm working at FedEx. I'm not shitting on my fellow FedEx workers. or Amazon workers, or UPS workers, or any unskilled labor workers. Because I'll tell you what, you could say a lot of things about these people. You can't call them lazy. How do you think you get your packages in time for Christmas? Oh, I was just there. 60-hour weeks. No break. Yep, you heard me. No break. Find a way to eat while you're working. Somehow. While you have 15 packages coming at you at once. For 7 or 8 hours straight. Sometimes 12 hours. No break. You gotta find someone to cover you just so you can use the bathroom for 3 minutes. So yeah, I'm at FedEx right now. It gets the adrenaline going. I'm not gonna act like it's all bad. Love my coworkers. It's some of the funniest people I've ever met. My manager Ryan's awesome. Pays good. Benefits. Can't complain. And listen, I'm a lot better off than I was 3 months ago. When I was sitting in that detox. I'm sober. I'm employed. I'm a productive member of society. I'm treating people better. I'm treating myself better. I'm doing a shit ton of fucking therapy, let me tell you. This was my last week of what's called IOP, which stands for Intensive Outpatient Program. It was 3 nights a week for 3 hours a night. So it was 9 hours total per week. Plus an individual therapy session for an hour a week. So it was 10 hours of therapy a week. It's a lot. I've done that for the last 3 months. Now I'm getting bumped down to OP, which is just a regular outpatient, which will be twice a week for an hour and a half each, plus the individual session. So I'm going down from 10 to 4 hours. But here's the thing. I need to fill that time. Because my enemy is free time. My enemy is boredom. I need to fill that free time with stuff that will help my recovery, i.e. AA meetings. Step work. Talking to my sponsor. All that shit. Making connections with other sober people. Building my sober network. Because here's the thing. Yeah, I'm sober right now. I don't have any thoughts of drinking. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about drinking now. I'm worried about when it gets harder. Because it will get harder at certain points. I need a foundation for my recovery. I need to be secure in my recovery. I need my foundation to be solid. Can't just have one little gust of wind and the whole house falls down, you know? So, yeah, I'm definitely going to start hitting the AA meetings hard. Hard. My goal is 3 a week. Because I'm still going to have my outpatient program 2 days a week. So my goal is 3 a week. And then on top of that, you know, meeting with my sponsor, doing step work. So doing something recovery based every day. I also want to get into meditating. I've been trying for so long. It is a lot harder than I thought. Because I don't know how to just be with my thoughts. My brain just goes all over the place, and that's because I have addict brain still. I need instant gratification. So yeah. I'm definitely going to be talking about a lot to do with recovery on this podcast. Now, the reason I call it the Heir-Apparent podcast, or I call myself the Heir-Apparent, is because the Heir-Apparent is like next up, next in line. to the throne, if you will. No, I'm not saying I'm a king by any means. I'm not that arrogant. But I'm saying, like, I got next. My time is coming. And that doesn't mean me being famous or me being rich or anything like that. It just means that I will be thriving soon. I'm not thriving right now. I'm not. Compared to where I was 3 months ago, I'm doing much better. I'm not thriving. I have goals for myself. I want to finish school. I make my own music. Wrong way. It's Young MJ. I'm getting used to this camera. I'm sorry. It's Young MJ, Spotify, and at THA Young MJ on Instagram. THA stands for the Heir-Apparent. Yeah. I want to be thriving, and I'm not thriving. So, I'm going to do this every week. And, we're just going to see where it takes me. We're going to see how I progress every week. Talk some recovery. Talk some life shit. I want to read a book a month. So maybe like every 4th episode I'll kind of just talk about the book that I'm reading. Self-help book, probably. I don't like read for pleasure. Like that's, if I'm reading, I'm getting something out of it, some kind of knowledge. My sister is like the weirdo that likes to read for pleasure. I'm like, I'd rather just watch the movie, But yeah, I really like this book about Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. It's called How to Think Like a Roman Emperor. It's about Stoicism, which is like, basically, it's not things themselves that are good or bad or make us feel a certain way. It's our judgments about those things that make them good or bad. Like, we judge something as good, we judge something as bad. The things themselves are not good, bad. They're just kind of indifferent. It's basically saying that you can control how you feel about things. And if you don't want to let something bother you, you don't have to give it the power to bother you. It's kind of just what it's all about. But I love that book. I really, really want to reread it. I like reading Machiavelli. I got a little dark side in me. Mac Miller's memoir. I'm a huge Mac Miller fan. Again, I'm getting used to this camera. Yeah, there's Mac right there. I got a tattoo of Mac Miller. I got a swimming album cover on my arm. So yeah, read the Mac Miller memoir. Rick Ross has a pretty cool book that I dabbled into. It's called The Perfect Day to Boss Up. There's Think and Grow Rich, which is another one I want to read. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yeah. So we'll get into doing that stuff too. So I'm going to keep this relatively short because I don't really have much to talk about. I don't really know where I want to go with this podcast yet as a whole. Definitely going to be talking recovery. Definitely going to be looking at my life journey. But I think that there's a lot of room to do a lot of cool things with this. So, again, don't know where we're going, but we're just going to keep chugging along. We're going to blunder forward, as my old boss used to say. Just going to keep moving forward unknowingly. So, yeah. I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to either watch or listen to this. It's my first go at this, so I'm sorry if it's not polished yet. But just like with anything I set my mind to, I will only get better at this. Just like I did with making music, I will only get better. So yeah, you can stream my music on Spotify and Apple Music, Young MJ, YOUNG MJ. And you can follow me on Instagram at THAYOUNG Duh, Young MJ. Thank you for tuning into the Heir-Apparent podcast, first ever episode. I want to close this the same way I started it, with a moment of silence for the still sick and suffering. The addict who will pick up for the first time, and the addict who will pick up for the last time, and will not be with us tomorrow, followed by the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Love y'all. Stay safe.
What up, Wonder?